Back to the pack, the recruitment time, and 65 again, got a little sneak peek of it. So, are any of you I haven't met or come across in the past 44,230 miles? Okay. In the last year. My name's Mike Muir. I'm the Scout Executive and CEO for Strom Area Council, which covers Greater Baton Rouge and North Shore, and still out in Southwest Louisiana as well, Lake Charles. So this is my fourth council. Lots of news over the time period, but we've been very successful over the years. Lake Charles was the fastest growing membership in the country until 2020. So from 15 to 19, we more than doubled in size in a shrinking community. So there is a method to do it, and it's being consistent. It's having a tight game plan, and John and I and Tyrone have talked about a lot of it, and it's not something that we can just come in and say, okay, this is what we're doing right now, because it wouldn't be successful. We don't have the foundation and support for it yet. But there's a 3 to 5 year plan, to get us to that point. Because the last thing I want to do is go into these elementary schools or these communities and make a promise that we're not able to keep. Because it's not like we are that transient of a community where we have all these new people coming in. So next year when we go, it's like, okay, we really got it together this year. That's just not how it works. So, when Keith was talking about, if you're pulling from 4 or 5 schools like we talked about with 65, let's have a 3-year plan that, we kind of, when you're growing, some flowers and all that, so you might prune something or set up a secondary, a mirror tier leadership so that in 2 years we can branch off that second pack. This is how one of my packs got started when I was a kid, also one of my troops that I was a member of. And so let's do it the right way, in a supportive way, but the key to successful scouting is to make it local. We shouldn't be driving through 3 or 4 school zones to get to your pack meeting or your Cub Scout meetings. What can we do to kind of restructure and reorganize stuff? And again, it's not we flip a magic switch and this is where we're at. So through our communications and conversations with the superintendents, the agreements are that one of the professional staff will be in there to do the recruitment. It's a 3-minute spiel based on grade level. We're in and out. We return the kids to as normal as they were when we came in. I tell them that I'm going to get put in timeout, whatever, as we're leaving. And then the following night at the school, we had that sign-up night. Again, so it's local. It's neutral. And again, I've seen this through several experiences in areas that if we're recruiting at Timothy Elementary, but the sign-up night is at Broadmoor United Methodist Church, if you're not a member of the Methodist Church or something, Presbyterian Church or something that is familiar, right away you don't necessarily feel welcome. Now, you'll be fine after you sign up and you understand a little bit more, but that initial sign up, it's a little awkward. Or they don't come home. And that's the last thing that we want. So last year when I got here, I worked with Rhett out in the Western District a good bit, and we had a lot of great success in the sign-up nights. The challenge that we faced was we started talking about signing up online, right? Because that's great. As soon as we did that, we went from, we were at Live Oak Elementary and we had 52 new Cub Scouts ready to go. I think we had 16 sign up tonight because we're like, the leadership was very excited. They had, trying to make it very easy, they had PayPal, QR codes, they had to be a scout.org QR code. Like they had 3 different QR codes at every table for the different things, for the t-shirts, for the pack dues, for the registration. And so everybody's like, okay, well, we'll go home and sign up, and more than likely they don't. So at the sign-up night, we still want to do the paper application, do the process, get them in and out, right, John? Let's keep it simple. Anybody afterwards, hey, hit the QR code, sign up online. Nobody has to worry about, this stuff. And I do apologize. We will have the materials out to you with the script and all that stuff. My dad had a bad fall. I actually got a window of opportunity for 3 days to go out to him last week. It's just been a challenge. So we do have a script. Again, you personalize it because it needs to be natural for the sign-up night itself. We do have a copy of the Parents Guide. So a couple years ago, National was very accommodating and had these big envelopes that we'd stick everything into to keep it simple and clean. They don't do that anymore, but we sourced them and we bought some. And so inside that envelope, you'll have these parent guides, which is 11 by 17. It's a big piece of paper folded over. And inside that, you'll have the popcorn flyer, the Cub On flyer, application, and the Scout Shop promotion. So if you scroll over to the top, this will be the cover. That's the back piece, which talks, for the last several months we've come out and we've talked about we've massaged the registration program, the Adventure Pass, which is all the activities and stuff that are covered as part of the registration fee. So instead of $130 for renewal, it's $150, but it includes the family's registration for Weeblos Woods, Cub Haunted, Cub Family Camp out in the spring, District Derby Days as we have those, and some other stuff that will pop up. If it's a special event like the LSU Merit Badge Day, that's a separate fee. The longer camps are also different, but this way it takes that challenge out of the families. Are they going to be able to pay for Cub Haunted or go grocery shopping? We want to include all that. This is again the awkward year of if their renewal doesn't happen until January, then this year for Cub Haunted it'll be $20 a person if they do register early. Max out its family at $60. Last year was $30, max out at $90. We're not providing the Saturday night dinner or the Sunday morning breakfast, but there will be a purchase option for lunch on Saturday and dinner on Saturday if they want as well. We're just trying to streamline things as much as we can. But the nice thing is, when we're talking about this will be the one time that we have to ask for money for, I don't even want to call it the basics because it's not, it's more than the basics, to provide a great program year. This is not the final draft. There's about four or five revisions that need to be done. And I did send those, so we'll have those. And again, that'll all be folded in your kit, and we'll have X amount of kits for each of your nights along with the other materials that you need. And the script really follows along with this. So, we talk about the sign-up night is broken into three parts. The first is, the welcome, then it's Cub Scouting 101, and then it's organizing into dens, and then it's registration, and we're done. It's written, if you're really comfortable with it, about 40 minutes. And informative, it hits them with the big stuff, and they just follow along with the parent guide. So when we're talking about Cub Scouting 101, it's basically this. You have a national program, what a council is. Again, even leaders that have been around for 10 years, some of them don't know what it is, so it's okay. This isn't, this is a resource. It's not it's your dictionary, not a Bible. So it just kind of breaks that down. You're part of the what district. We all need that right now because we're figuring that out. What a Cub Scout pack is, how that works, who your Cub Master is, their contact information, and then den leader. So that's a 101. And again, the expectation is the Cub Scouts led by a Cub Master or a committee chair, but it's run by everyone here in the room. So, without getting up there and saying this BSA doesn't stand for babysitters, whatever, because we all heard that 30 years ago. That does not, what, is it win you friends and influence people? So just, we all have a part in this, and we're all there. So we set that expectation from the beginning, but given that information. And then we're like, hey, okay, you're signed up, now what? Well, that's this. It's weeks 1 and 2, do this, weeks 3 and 4, weeks 5 and 6. And we also talked about popcorn a little bit. And just the fundraising aspect and the why that we do it. The first year is typically the hardest year when it comes to the funds to get the stuff. And so one of the things we talked about was 65 a couple years ago. One of the families were signing up 4 girls. It was $150 each. And I said, okay, so $600. I was like, yeah, I didn't think about that. That's a significant buy-in. But it's not foreign when you have 4 kids. Having 4 kids in our household, I understand that a lot more now. So the mom said, but hey, if we sell this popcorn, can we get refunded afterwards for the membership fee? And this was a troop that I was the scoutmaster for, and my wife was the committee chair for the pack. It's like, never had anybody ask that before. And I guess the reason why it was preempted, why it came up is because in 22, we decided out there to go to the program year, the school year as the registration. Because we're like, look, we've gone through 5 natural disasters, slowest we're ever gonna be, let's do the customer service side and do it to go with the school year. And so that's why it was the full fee up front. A couple years later, now National does it. And so that's an option to look at and to consider also. If your unit, if they sell, I think we talked about like $600 or $700, whatever it was, the 30% would cover their fee plus whatever else you need. And again, it gets them into the system of raising money to help pay for their year. They earn their way through it. And that is the difference between our fundraisers and the school fundraisers and even Girl Scouts, where you get 10 or 15% commission based on volume. We do our best to make sure it's as good as it can be. So we get through all that, and then we already talked about the back page, which is a registration fee. So we have in this we're talking about we go through events. We have the calendar. Well, here's the flyer for the first event. Click on it. Go ahead and sign up with that. You still have to register. It's just included in your membership fee. And again, it's going to be modified because we're not going to talk about merit badge counselors on this per se and explorers. And then the other important thing for that night is for those that sign up and pay, Canes has been very generous to give us a free kids combo certificate. We want to give them that night when they register. So that's kind of the carrot to let's go ahead and close this transaction. Let's not go home and do it online because you're not going to get them online. This is the only time that you get the Canes certificate. And so that's the school night process and the talk, I guess, as a whole. When we're in the school, the kindergarten through 3rd grade, ideally we have stickers to put on the kids as a reminder for them. And most of them say which night of the week, a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We do have some generic for a Monday or a Friday. God bless you. We still have the buddy cards for you to have to give out to your scouts to invite a friend. And then the yard sign and posters if you guys want that as well.
Now this is back to the pack, and that's the whole thing about tonight, okay? But understand that we'll have one of these for the scouting part, for the
Yes.
the older, the older programs as well.
Correct, and that's why, on this, if you go back to that again one more time, Jeremy, sorry. We do include the dates. Did you close it? It's okay. So one of the things I used to include, we called it the big rock counter, some of the key things. So we did drop that onto the back page just so they see. So some of the stuff, again, this is just for a quick reference. As they're involved in the pack, you need to make sure that they understand that the Weeblos Woods, that's at Avondale, is for 4th and 5th grade, and then the Scouts BSA also. Religious emblems, that weekend is geared towards Cub Scouts. This year they've revamped that. Merit Badge Day, again, it's just communication that, because some of the 5th graders are just going to go ahead and start in a troop. There's no reason for them to be in a pack for 3 months and then cross over. Again, now with the new program through the Era of Light, it's kind of designed for the kids to cross over between December and February. It's not a May crossover. It's not an April crossover. It's not a March crossover. It's designed to be done between December and February to give them time to get established with their troop before summer camp, to have an opportunity to raise money to pay for summer camp. And so that's why we included some of this stuff for the older kids, like winter camp, the first year's scout program for those that are 5th grade that just jump in, and so forth. And then we tell them where to go at the bottom for the calendar stuff. Yes, sir.
So I've got a logistical question about, so how do we deal with payment on the sign-up night?
Check.
How many people have a check anyway?
I know, well, there's other parts to it.
Right, so, that was just some of the ones I was,
How many of your units have a Venmo or PayPal or whatever? And that is something we need to work through, because obviously the bscat.org has all that information. And so that's what a lot of units have done. What do we have as a council, Tyrone? Do we have PayPal or anything? No, we just have the
Clover.
yeah, and that's complicated. It's complicated for everybody to have, we have to actually create an account for you and link it up with our bank account and all that stuff. So I guess the ideal scenario would be that the unit has the PayPal or Venmo or whatever to receive those funds like you do for the fundraisers.
Or check with your bank. They have an app called Zelle that's tied with your bank already.
Right. Yeah, as a unit account to be able to receive it, they just need to know the number or the email address to associate that with, and it doesn't charge you anything, and it's instantaneous. Unlike the other.
Zelle.
Z-E-L-L-E. Zelle.
Just check with your bank account
Gif,
and
Gif.
see if it's set up already.
and most of the major banks do it,
Mhm.
and even some of the non-major ones.
But that's a good question.
But yeah, that was just how do we set that up for success in this pattern we're laying out? Well, you guys aren't gonna talk about that at the school recruitment. That's gonna go nowhere.
Right.
So just being prepared to, how can money change hands when the goal is they're signed up and they're paid? Because signed up and not paid, again, how many of them do you lose?
Right. Oh, yeah, if it's not signed up and paid that night,
10%, 15%?
that's probably fair.
So yeah, just, and maybe that's a conversation. You gotta figure out a way to bring that up first,
Yeah,
so that there's an opportunity, if there's two parents, one of them can go to the bank.
Right.
If they wanna do cash, one of them can go.
Or we can talk in-house too about processing that, at the office. Because we've done that before too, where I don't know, we'll have to figure that one out. But I guess the big thing would, we'll just have to follow up and have a conversation with all the units and just say, what do you guys do for electronic payments? Is there anybody that does not have anything for electronic payments right now? You guys don't? Yeah,
Right now, we're just Venmoing stuff to the Scoutmaster and he
on his
does it
personal.
all, yeah.
Yeah,
He moves it all over.
and I've done that too. I don't like being in that position.
It's awkward.
It is, well, yeah, I mean,
It's awkward for everybody.
right. For me, it was several layers, I'm Scoutmaster,
Yeah.
Scout Executive, and it's like, yeah,
Take it out on the pocket.
please make this public, yeah, right, it's like, hey, I need a new car. Okay. Hey, is there anything, John, that I missed in our conversation?
No, we still have the rest of the PowerPoint, and did we get agendas out to people? I'm looking at some housekeeping stuff, and the signing sheet, get it out to people.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's.
And any thoughts anybody has for how we make this process better, here's our time to bring it up.
Question on the adventure pass.
From Lake.
So with registration, is it covering the full family? So how you normally would pay for siblings that
It's
aren't
included.
Scouts and parents?
It's
all
included.
those
This is a
people?
no-brainer,
Okay, so it just makes it a lot more simplified with
yes,
that right now, each individual.
Right, it's like you pay for one kid and you get everything.
right.
It's really crazy stuff.
And like last year too, if you have 3 scouts, again, at any of, if you have 2 in a pack and 1 trip or whatever, that third, there'll be a reimbursement of a portion of the fee to be able to come back. You just have to request it. Yeah, the third kid on.
Okay.
It might be a $20 credit. I know last year was 40, but again, we've changed a lot of things with it. So yeah, so all the youth members pay it. We kept the adult rate flat, but we're including some of the basic trainings, and we're still massaging that stuff out also. Orlando started doing this a couple years ago. They increased the adult rate up to 100 and included all the training. We're trying to figure out how to do it without increasing that rate. The $85 right now covers the $19.93 for insurances for all the members and the national registration fee. So it's a wash. And same thing with the exploring participant. Not that if you guys are associated with that, it's the national fee plus the $19.93.
Right, and I mean, that's a key piece, worth repeating.
Right.
Mr. Mary is not making any money off this.
No.
You know, that's hard expenses, that's it.
So I guess a
Yes.
follow-up to that, to wrap it up in my head.
Yep.
It's probably reiterating what you just asked. So for that $20 extra, that's covering the parents, siblings that go to the camp as well?
Correct.
So what about the kids that recharter under the old schedule of like after the new year?
And so that's what I talked about briefly.
Yeah, I just wanna
Yeah.
tie the bow up.
So for this, last year we joked about this, that last year being the puberty, you're right, like puberty, it goes on sometimes a little bit more awkward longer. And that's what this is. So until this recharge, after January or whenever that time is, from there on out, no big deal.
Right, but I guess my question is, for those kids that have to pay that $20 this year, does
Correct.
that cover the family as well?
No, it's $20, so for Cub Haunted,
Right.
it's $20 a person, capped at $60 expenses for the family.
Okay, so that's for the kids that are rechartering after Cub Haunted.
Correct.
Now, for those that are rechartering before Cub Haunted,
It's included.
that $20 includes them for that $150, but does that include the family?
Yes.
Okay. How come the 20 for the ones that?
Because this was the only way to make it work that was not crazy. This was brought up,
That
Rob,
sounds crazy to me.
I understand. Rob brought this up.
Rob's bringing it up again.
Perfect, we're consistent. Different Rob, same question. It was the only way for it to, when Orlando did it several years ago, it happened at their recharter time. Now that we're scattered to the wind, you still have these events that go on. So it's the same thing for out-of-council scouts that come to our events. If they're out of council, they're not paying the program fee. And so that's what their rate is gonna be. So again, it's discounted from last year. Again, going to a movie, you're spending more than that on the weekend, and they're not gonna go to everything, but as soon as that, because my first thought was, well, they could prepay the program fee. They're like, no, because then they didn't pay for next year.
Right.
I was like, so this is that awkward.
It's no worse than last year. In fact, it's less than last
It
year.
is less than last year,
It's a transition plan.
and we're talking about 2 events.
Right.
I know.
So
I just know our PAC has a huge pushback.
Yeah, it is.
Cost of the
It's a
band
thing.
camp. We're trying to push everyone to go to it.
Right.
But it's a cost thing, so the idea of
Oh,
parents paying the $20 per to go, when the parents are getting nothing out of it.
they are.
They're not.
They are.
I went last year, there was nothing for the parents, because the kids, it's for the kids, and I
It-
love fam camp. It
It's
was my
to
first
cover expenses for all of that stuff. There was the net gain on that was very little. Porta potties cost over $3,000. The food that we provided for, that was almost $17 per person in food. So there was stuff. It may not have been programmatically, but it also helps, if we did the true cost of what any of our camps cost, it would price everybody out.
I guess my statement is more of the perception to the families. The parents definitely feel like they get nothing out of it other than hanging out with their kids and watching the kids. And
Right.
that's what I loved about it.
Absolutely.
And I'm pushing very hard to get our
Yeah.
pack to go this year because of the cross-pollination with the other packs.
They get to see how big Scotty is.
Yes,
I
and
mean,
that
to
is,
hang out with your kids, but, my reaction is, I got a 27-year-old, I'm still waiting for my payback.
I'm just trying to tie a bow on it,
No, no,
telling
no.
it to my parents because I do want our pack to go.
Right.
And I do want us to make a large showing there. Last year was my son-in-law. We represented our pack.
Okay.
It was a last minute decision because I did Blues, so all of a sudden let's put this bugger to
Right.
good use. And we came out because we had our pack camp out the following weekend.
Okay.
And it's always been that because, fam camp is unorganized, this, that, the other. So after seeing it myself, I'm trying to make that push. So I'm trying to get my ducks in a row for trying to sell it to leadership and parents.
Right, and I get that, but the programs, all that stuff, again, there's it is a lot more expensive than you realize, and, you know, Elaine knows with all the stuff that they put on too, through OA and everything, all of this stuff is so much more expensive. We had 150 kids at camp and people, and the food was gonna be over $6,000 for breakfast, lunch, and a snack. I mean, it is crazy the costs that have gone up. And so again, the ideal is that, and when they come time for recharter, it's no longer an issue. This year is the issue, but it's done as cheap as,
The fact the price came down is good.
correct.
That's gonna be a much easier sell for people as well.
But again, I know what it costs for me and my 3 kids to go to the movie, and that's 2 hours of entertainment. That's not you know, all the program, the supply, it's not like there's a sweat lodge somewhere where they're producing the program stuff for us. I mean, it's hard costs.
Well, and I think all programs are that way, baseball, football.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
soccer. I mean, it doesn't matter what your children are doing, I mean, and to be honest with you, if you really look at the cost of it, and I think, to your point, I think that's probably the best
Mhm.
thing to lean into, if there is pushback, is, you know, hey guys, listen, you know, not a whole lot of things are cheap nowadays, but.
It's still
you know,
$5,000 cheaper than travel ball.
Oh my
Yeah.
lord.
And you know what? And you don't get to play.
Right, and this you get to play.
you know,
Or at least we did with, yes, sir.
On that, and you don't have to go back, but on that previous sheet, so if my scout registered in December.
Yeah.
Okay, my cub registered in December, the adventure passes that he missed out this year, they had to actually
Our coverage next year.
are coming next year. So you still get everything on that list, it just is, you know, you're looking at the calendar year.
And yeah, maybe the honest answer is, y'all have 10 families instead of 50 families. That may be the honest answer, and thank those 10 families for coming, and that, we're all
We're trying
happy.
to get however many we can. If we can get 10
Yeah.
out there with the
E-
pushback
exactly.
that will be great.
Right.
It's,
It'll be the foot in the door.
And you know, if y'all are participating in popcorn, to his point a second ago too, maybe that's a way to tie it in a little bit too.
Right.
You know,
We're trying there too. I mean, we
Yeah.
did 25 grand in popcorn last year, so it's an
that's,
easy sell saying popcorn's gonna cover this stuff, but
Yeah,
Steve, how many people in y'all's troop sold popcorn?
me,
10 or 12.
And how much?
It
38,000?
was about 20,000.
Okay. I mean, that's, you know, it doesn't take a lot of kids
no,
to make
we
a
did
lot.
25,000 in
Yeah.
No,
popcorn.
that was
We had a good
phenomenal, right?
year.
yeah,
I can't make this any cheaper.
No, and I was only pushing because I wanna get my ducks in a row for when I present.
And I'm happy to come to your pack and have that conversation too, and hear it directly.
That's actually probably a good idea, because if we can get somebody from council to explain it,
Absolutely.
as opposed to me explaining it, that would be a good thing.
Right.
I have to say, we had a little meeting and he was there and we talked about the cup on it, and it changed the perspective of all the leaders in my pack to want to go to it, and they haven't been going to it for years.
Yeah, this is the same in our
reason,
pack,
same
because they
thing,
had
and-
ill feelings, and I went last year on a whim, and I was like, this was a really good time.
Right.
And as he explained it, he talked about it, the mindset changed, and it's our plan to go as a pack this year too.
And I think that leans into scouting being bigger than just your pack.
Yeah.
I think that's.
It's so cool. I mean, there was 900 something people there. I mean, it was unreal. Because again, for so long, I think we were like at 60 kids. And in my mind, I was like, okay, we got to at least get to 200, 300 when I came here. And I was like, because we didn't have anything planned, much to your point. And so, you know, this is something I've been doing for 14 years at 3 different councils. I know that it works. And then it's like, you know, the deadline weekend, it was like 400 people registered that weekend. So I'm like, okay, crap, we got like 2 weeks, and then like another 300 people registered in that week and a half along with you. And we were able to pull it off, but wow. So,
And that's, you know, bringing out another number, again, Mike says, and I know Elaine knows this from some of the programs she's advisor for, the insurance costs are crazy.
out of your,
So, you know, that $20, it's $20 to provide the insurance that isn't great. But you gotta have it, and it's there. And we're kind of lucky we have enough of a pool of us to make that happen.
and
You know,
this is
for
a
some
risk,
of your events, it's,
right?
you know, it's half the cost of the event is insurance for one event.
But I mean, this is the risk that we're taking because I want it to be,
Right.
I want to do everything, because again, I understand, I can relate with the 4 kids in Scouts. plus my wife and I, we don't get discounts, I mean, we're paying this, we're paying full freight also. So what is it that makes sense that we can do, that's feasible, that's achievable? You know, we've been in a rough situation here financially for, you know, a couple of years, and camp is one of those big things. You know, we're spending $300,000 out there more than what we bring in. So, you know, what's the solution? Do we not have a camp anymore, or do we figure it out? So the hope here is that through the numbers, through the math, and what Orlando found when they started doing this is their attendance increased 200, 300%. Because then the parents weren't, you know, because the families weren't having to decide. And so that's what we want. And so we know that, you know, we're budgeting on program supplies, which is why food's separate, because that's just a different beast. But no, I'm happy to come to your leaders, to the PAC meeting, to talk with it. I don't care. You know,
And any of us will. If Mike can't make it, any of us are coming, we all think this is a great idea. You know, he's shown his work.
and it's changed like 4 or 5 different times through
Right.
the
And
talks, but
this year is just awkward. That happens, you know?
it's changed.
Somebody online asked if there was a possibility of adding a note to the fees, that there could be unit fees for like pack fees.
That'll be discussed at the sign-up night. National is very specific on what can be on publications. Because again, the unit fee doesn't prohibit them from being in scouting, it can prohibit them from being in PAC 65. But they could also have a month or two to pay that additional fee where they don't have that luxury. So that's how it's been explained to me for 25 years, you know, from Nationals. This is what it is.
So are we allowed to put pack fees on our?
No. But that is a conversation at the sign-up night. And again, you know, that if that's a rub, we need to talk about how to discuss that and what the timeline is that you can get them to pay it.
So you can't have a separate piece of paper with that information on it?
Not that's distributed at the schools.
Right, but at the
sign-up night, it's a discussion,
sign-up.
but again, they can join scouts by paying
Right.
the $150 that night.
And the unit participation fees are brought up.
They can be brought up that night, but there should also be, you know, if any of us have been doing this for a while, that first night, the parents are just there, they just want to get in and out.
Right.
Having a secondary parent night, or whatever you call it, a week or two afterwards to kind of go through more of the meat and potatoes is the best practice that I've always done. And that's where you know, elaborate on, okay, this covered that. This is what this covers as well.
This is when we meet. These are
Right.
all of our leaders. These are what we're gonna ask you to do.
Which is again, why that parents guide, if they keep that with them and you use that for that parent meeting and you reiterate that stuff, it at least gives them some kind of visual to understand the structure and the connection. And then when they, you know, if they come out to the cup on it and they see the big picture, it's like, oh, wow, okay, cool. And that's the big thing is, you know, and that's why we had changed a lot and we're still refining stuff, but that's why we're working collectively as a capital area together with these parishes is to make sure that our events are strong, that we have the support system in place, and that the kids can have a really good experience and see the size. Because, you know, when I was in a district as a kid, we had 11 units in our district because it was rural. And, you know, it was cool to see the other, you know, 120 kids at an event. But then when I went to a bigger event, I'm like, holy cow. You know, we had 25,000 people at University of Central Florida's football stadium for a scout show. And I was like, you know, we couldn't even get around all the booths. And so they get to see the big stuff. And that's just really cool. Any other questions on any of the stuff?
My turn.
Okay.
So he's talked a lot and I'm just gonna keep things moving, okay? But, and you understand, our major role here as district and as a professional staff is to help your unit and be resources for your unit, all right? And if your unit happens to be other than the Cub Pack, it doesn't matter. We'll talk about that, even though this is back to the pack night, we can talk about that as well, okay? So, again, and this is set up to do this meeting and the next meeting, okay? on the 27th, so some things we're not gonna do. We're not gonna do the pledge. Okay, but if you have it, please share your name on that index card I gave you, your position, your PAC number. If you have a calendar, I'd like you to share that with us, okay? As you leave, okay? You just drop it right here, okay? And again, we understand that some PACs are making their calendars in May, okay? And some PACs won't do that until August, okay? But you need to be working something out. And a lot of this stuff is to help you with your committee to do what needs to be done to move forward. So, your primary and secondary schools, and again, if you're with a troop or somebody else besides a PAC, you can still give us this information, we'd appreciate it, okay? And welcome letter, if you have one typed up, fine, if not, we have, as one of our resources, we have, I'll pass this around, we have a letter with this information in the back of the council, and with spaces, this information on the front, okay? And if, again, you need to share, you need to coordinate with Tyrone and myself to get this to happen, okay?
Phone number?
I'm sorry?
Phone number?
Phone number?
You want her name? You want to know how to find her?
Yeah, thank you, sir. Give me a phone number. That sounds great. Thank you. All right, yes, sir. Mr. Jeremy?
By email, John.
I'm sorry? The email's good too. Why don't you advance the slide twice?
Only if you check it.
Go back once, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. Again, the whole reason we're here, participants should be able to describe the purpose of PAC training, describe what a successful recruitment looks like, list components of a recruitment effort, open house, describe the tools of recruitment. Go ahead. All right. Maybe we've gone too far. Back. Yeah, somehow. Okay, now forward. Okay, there we go. Purpose. Why are we meeting? Well, so we can do better recruitment, so we can get more. Again, if we're looking at 1,000, we want 200. That's 20%. Can you do 20% of your unit? That'd be a good rule of thumb. But that's if you're a number person. If not, it's again. What do we want? We want more kids involved, okay, and more parents, okay. We want more families involved, okay. And that takes care of both of these things. We don't want the child, and we can almost put the word family in there, okay? Go ahead, advance. Okay, so I would recommend that you're more likely to achieve your goals if you have something written. Okay, so I would suggest that whoever, your leader or your new member coordinator comes up with a plan, you get it on the same page with your committee about what y'all are gonna do. And again, this is within the next month, okay, if not sooner, okay? But again, this is in your court. I'm happy to talk to anybody on an individual and personal basis, about making that happen. Hopefully your unit calendar is there, but if not, you need to get that straight along with your planning. You can also do recruiting groups, okay? And we just left this list from last year. Skate Galaxy has offered to have people, he's going to have somebody sit there on a Friday night and recruit for your PAC or your troop or whatever. Skate Galaxy is a centrally located place, for our districts, so that's a cool thing. You talk about church fairs, farmers markets, et cetera, we could brainstorm this all night, but again, that's in your court, okay? That's what the PAC or the troop has to do, is come up with ideas and thoughts, libraries. There's just this, there's a lot of things. Go ahead, sir. Okay, so activities, I didn't put everything on the list. He had a better list. I just didn't have that in my hand at the time. But the Cub Hunt weekend is October 25th through 27th. All this is on the calendar, okay? You saw the other things on the calendar, we will be getting that list to you. Again, mixed with, and what does your pack do for activities? You know, that's again, why the calendar? You know, your hikes, these are some suggestions, okay? You know, what do you have set up? What will you have set up? So, you know, again, consider your pack activities. Yes, sir. Okay, so recruiting, again, there's several terms that we gotta kind of watch our terminology here. Okay, so a youth talk is where somebody goes to the school and actually goes from classroom to classroom talking scouting. Okay, all right. That's probably, you need to coordinate that with the school, okay? With your primary and your secondary, and with us,
It has to
okay?
happen with us.
Okay.
We communicate with the schools.
Right, okay, that's even better, okay? So, you gotta coordinate that endeavor with the school and with, the scout office, okay? All right, so, after you wanna have that school night somewhere close to your, you want to coordinate that youth talk with the school night, okay? The school night will be at the school, okay? It really should be at the school because if it's at your local church, there may be issues, okay? All right, so it's always good to get it at school first, and then you can do something like an open house with your unit, a unit open house, okay, later on. But here's some of the key stations that you probably should have. A sign-up table, which should be hosted by your new member coordinator. You need to have someone talk about what we do. So that's your veteran scouter. And again, your leader could be any one of these, but again, these are things that kind of need to happen. Registration, committee member to help just get people signed in, okay? And then a checkout. This is the thing we were talking about, where a pack treasurer, somebody has to be able to take money here, okay? All right, and so you need to figure that out. Keith was, in a perfect world, we have commissioners to do that, okay? But that's something we gotta coordinate between us and the district and the packs and the troops, okay? So, yeah. And then meet with your den leaders, because you wanna have your den leaders there, because there is a video that goes all over this whole process, and this matches the video, okay? In your training pack, in your my.scouting.org, there are videos that train you on this, okay? All right, but this is the nuts and the bolts of what needs to happen. And then you should also try and talk to maybe your feeder troop to get some scouts and leaders to take the games for the Cubs and the recruits, okay? Again, what's the acronym? Kismet, keep it simple. And this is about as best we can do. Make it fun, okay? So, we gotta make sure, and that's a real challenge all the time I've seen, is how do we make all this stuff fun? It's gotta be fun for the parents. It really helps if it's fun for the parents, and especially fun for the kids. Yes, sir.
And, the scouts occupying the kids while you talk to the parents, you're gonna make a lot more progress a lot faster.
So, some steps to recruit, select a new member coordinator, and all adults take the training. Like I said, there's a lot of training on what to do, how to fill out registration forms, all kinds of training. Yeah, I know. But again, you want to be more effective in your recruitment. You want to get those families in and get them engaged, okay? That's your best bet, is to do that. A plan, we talked about that already. Coordinate with your primary and secondary schools and the scout office, okay? Again, you may have the school, and then this is what, like I said, this gets confusing. So we have youth talks, we have our school night for your pack, we may have a troop open house, and there may even be a school open house that you need to be at, okay? or parent night, PTO. It's all the schools are different. So, whatever works with your primary and secondary, okay? You've talked to school with the professionals, okay? Professionals, wave your hands, okay? Let's see, and hold the school night at your school, okay? Follow up on leads. Now, after all that said and done, part of your plan should have a round two, okay? And when we say round two, can you do this again and grab some more families? Possible, okay? Again, that's something your committee needs to, that should be part of your plan.
Scheduling conflicts on that first night if you don't give them some other opportunity. And look, it could be at your first PAC meeting.
Well, that's why the contact information is on the
Right.
flyers as well, and you'll get those calls in the viascout.org, but this is more confusing than the way that we try to simplify it, so.
I'm sorry.
We will, it's not your fault, it's national.
Yeah.
You took that from Nationalsburg. We really try to, because again, I've been there, I was a Cub Scout leader for 19 years and Scoutmaster for 17 years across that time, so I've been there and recently. So we really try to, here's your kit, this is what we're doing, and we walk through it. And again, if one of us are available, we'll be there. And that's why we just need to coordinate.
Some of you are old masters at this stuff, and some of you are brand new, and again, we're here to support. Yes, sir. All right, so a couple of recruitment tools that you can use. We'll have the bag of recruitment supplies later on. The videos, I already talked about that. Again, it's my.scouting. QR codes. Okay, so if you are a regular visitor to your my.scouting page, okay, you may find on your membership and recruiting page a QR code, okay? You can download that. Now, the issue with that, it's a good and bad thing, okay? The good thing is, if you use that QR code from the Scouts, okay, it gets you to beascout.org, okay, all right? It's not tailored to your unit, okay, all right? So if you want to use a QR code tailored to your unit, you've got to have some other way to get that information and support that. Maybe you've got a way you can get them on Google to sign up on a spreadsheet.
Yeah, we're doing, is it not?
The council, if they go to the council site, it gets them to sign up on a spreadsheet, and then the council gets this information, and the council is sending them to the nearest, to the nearest unit.
Yeah, hold on.
Yes.
Because as of last year, if you went to beascout.org and you found your unit page, there was a QR code that went straight to your sign up.
Ours does that.
Okay,
I
that's what I thought.
have
That's not-
flyers with our QR code of
Perfect.
straight to the troop
Okay.
to sign up.
So maybe they've updated that since, because last year when I was playing around with this, it was the same. Somebody ought to check that, okay?
I did.
Okay.
That's us,
Cool.
that's our.
That's how she.
That's your, okay, awesome, okay, so then, yeah, test it, okay, make sure you test it, okay? Thank you, Elaine. Make sure your QR codes work. And again, you can put them on your flyers, you can put them wherever you need to, okay? But that's just another recruitment tool, okay? Posters, we have some posters here, okay? If you want to grab a poster, okay? Here's one poster. You probably saw the yard sign as you came in. There's some outside, we have a couple here. If you need more, we can see you about that.
We have more coming in a week and a half.
Right, okay? So again, if you don't get your hands on them, check back with the office, okay?
Talk to your school, can you put one in the carpool lot?
My church of Broadway Methodist, every Sunday, there's a PowerPoint flying before the service begins, okay? Well, all I got to do is ask them, and we'll put our QR code up there. I notice the church is using them for everything these days. So, school and church bulletins. I've also noticed lots of schools have their Facebook pages, and they may be wanting to put the QR code for your unit on there, okay? All you can do is ask, okay? And again, you might have to, think out of the box with these, okay? So if you got a yard sign and got in a carpool line at a school and got permission to do that, there's nothing to stop you from taking a QR code on one of these, okay? And that might help them as well, okay?
School sports events. Again, we've talked in years past, go where the kids are.
Yeah.
Where are the kids and the parents? Well, they're at, Thursday night and Friday night football games, they're at carpool.
Yep. Social media, Facebook, digital hard copy flyers, all those things are just resources that you need to be thinking about and seeing what you can apply. And I really would like to know what works. If you have something that really works, and we're trying to gather some data on that. Okay? Yes, sir. And we're questions and answers. Any questions?
Where's the slide that we have?
Can you send this out to, or
I can make it available and send a link out, yeah.
he will? Okay.
Thank you.
We're good. Can we attach this to our Facebook page?
I'll have to check. I believe so.
Also, and
Okay.
get our stuff in harmony with.
And you can always email us and we'll email them. And, memberships, there's a lot of things, and to tell you the truth, the next thing memberships will be looking at is, new growth, new units, but, we don't want to put in new units where existing units are, okay? And so I'm always open for suggestions, if you have identified a gap that you know of in Baton Rouge, or Livingston Parish, or Ascension Parish, within our council, if you know there's an area that has no unit, give us a heads up on that. Because, we like to establish some new ones. That's a whole can of worms that I'm not getting into tonight, this is back to the pack. But, it's still, from a membership point of view, we're thinking about that as well. And there's a lot of other parts to membership too, but back to back, and I'm done. Otherwise, I'll talk forever. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. King.
I guess that's us. Anybody have any other thoughts?
If you need yard signs, buddy cards, posters, feel free.
And that's, anything that comes to mind, reach out to us. We're, some of us older people are here to help. We have been doing this for a while. It doesn't mean we're experts. It means we're still doing it and we believe in it. So however we can help, we're willing to do that. We're willing to come up and, show up on an event and help however we can. If, empty garbage, talk about scouts, whatever.